Hey guys, I wanted to show you the process and the steps that it took to create my headboard. I always think about my projects probably like a month or two in advance, and I start buying materials slowly. I also tend to recycle a lot of things. So this box is a box that I had from a Kallax bookshelf that I had saved. I told my mom not to throw it away because I knew that I would use it eventually. So this is one of the uses that I found for cardboard. I don't know what it is about cardboard, but it holds a special place in my heart. Yes, I am a cardboard whore. I tend to hoard it. It's always under my bed or somewhere stuck behind furniture because I always tend to use it. I loved to use it when I was a teacher. Anyways, I ended up using masking tape. Use whatever you need, duct tape, whatever. Box cutter. Always put a piece of cardboard underneath the cardboard that you're going to cut. Don't think that I'm cutting into the carpet right now, because you're going to see that I'm going to pull out the other piece of cardboard that was, protecting the carpet. And it is actually a thicker piece of cardboard that was protecting the furniture. So I'm doing this, cutting it all up, and then I'm going to prepare to see if the foam actually is the same size and if the batting fits and all of that good jazz. So yes, the foam is slightly larger than my cardboard because I didn't want to cut another piece and use even more masking tape. I know I'm going to make it work because I have 2 pieces of plywood in my garage. And the batting is a little bit larger because it softens up the edges. Most people tend to do these type of cardboards by stapling me on the back, but I actually wanted to do a different technique because I wanted to look like one large fluffy pillow, and I wanted to have flanges. So when I decided to buy the vinyl that I got, I paid somewhere around $20 for it. I bought 4 yards, and I have actually used part of it to create my laptop cover. I don't know, some of you might have seen it on my Instagram, but because originally I was planning to do 2 headboards, I stupidly cut up the vinyl in half. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to create a seam in the middle and to be able to use it as one entire piece. But this is going to help me now be able to use the fabric all the way to the floor, when originally it was only going to be 60 inches by 30 inches. I'm not giving you many measurements because this is for a full-size bed, and I know that some of you guys might have a different project where it's a twin or a full or a queen or a king. So usually when I create a seam in the middle or when I join 2 pieces of vinyl, I end up having to iron the back portion of it. As you're going to see, I use a piece of cloth because the vinyl can burn and you don't want that sticking on your iron. So the reason why I do this is to flatten out that seam. It helps it look a lot better on the long run. If you leave it, it's going to look a little bit rouged. So I highly recommend that if you do anything like this, iron out those seams. It's going to look a heck of a lot better. And I also flip it and do the back part as well. Always use a piece of fabric between the iron and the vinyl so it doesn't burn. So right here, you're going to see that there's a lot of measuring involved. And as you can see the line on the cardboard, you can also see that it had a line through the center. And there's a lot of cutting. This black piece of material is something that I saved. It's also recycled. It came from a full-size box spring that my mom was going to throw out because it was broken. So I grabbed it that same day. I grabbed it from there. As you can see, there's a lot of troubleshooting here, guys. My machine sometimes the thread gathers up on the bottom, so you got to constantly check to make sure that both the front and the back are looking good, or sometimes it runs out of thread and you end up not sewing anything at all. So I wanted 2 flanges. I wanted a double flange. So as you can see, I'm not doing both wrong sides like you typically do with a flange, where you sew the edge and then flip it around and then create the flange. No, I wanted 2 flanges, and I knew that I was going to cut it up at the end. So as you can see right here, this is a lot of troubleshooting. Like right here, I'm figuring out ways to create the flange. It was a little bit frustrating. I should have planned this. I should have watched more YouTube tutorials, and I should have tried doing this on a small scale. Actually, I did, but I probably cut it out when I edited the video. long story short, it took a really long time. As you can see, the vinyl is actually pretty heavy, so it makes working with it a little more difficult. It's not like fabric where it's very malleable and easy to work with. So as you can see, it took a lot of measuring and cutting and redoing and remeasuring and just trying to figure out how to make all of this work together. Long story short, we go all the way to back a couple more pieces and continue measuring and so on and so forth. Go back. As you can see, I tend to fold the vinyl because it really helps when you're sewing with that weight to push it up, because otherwise the vinyl will gather or the thread on the bottom will gather and create very weird finishes. As you can see, I did a lot of de-threading. Like I ended up removing a lot of seams because sometimes things don't work out, guys, especially for me, because my thread is actually going to be exposed. I was not going to flip anything over, so it's got to look nice. It's got to have a nice finish to it. As you can see, de-threading again because things don't always work out and I ran out of thread, blah 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 blah, and so on and so forth. This was a 2.5 day job. It was a pretty big pain in the butt. Right there, I'm making sure that the cardboard actually fits. Start attaching my plywood, and I used screws that were pretty short, so make sure that you're using short screws when you attach it. If you use screws, you can also glue it on or staple it on or whatever you want to use. I used screws because it was just easier, but make sure that they're the right size, because otherwise it's going to go through the back and it's going to scratch up your walls. The hardest part was slipping this on. Believe it or not, it was super hard to put this slip cover, and it's not even large enough. It's not even big. So I enlisted Mama's help. I turned it around backwards, and here's where I recycle pillows. I did not know this was my mom's favorite pillow, so I cut it open and started fluffing my headboard until my mom saw the pillow that I was using. And as you can see, it's yellow. I thought it was really old, and she's like, no, I never washed it because I was afraid to ruin it, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, I'll buy her another one. But I started stuffing the headboard with this. This was probably the best material because I wanted to stuff the ends because it looked too square, so it needed a lot of stuffing. I ended up recycling probably like 4 pillows. Don't worry, I didn't buy them. I didn't get them from Goodwill. These are pillows that we had around the house that we wanted to get rid of or give away or just put away or throw in a closet because of the fact that all of us have a million pillows in our beds. Ended up stapling it to cover the plywood in the bottom, filled the sides. It actually worked out pretty cool because I was able to fill the sides so that it can have a faux finish. I used a combo of a cheap school stapler and an industrial stapler, and I just switch back and forth when I run out of staples. Whatever is on hand is what I use. I cut up the flanges so that there is no thread on the flange. And as you can see, my house always looks like something exploded, and it's not just a DIY, it's also a cleanup. Right now I'm starting to think that I should have done the batting over, but it looks pretty nifty. It looks like overkill, but it also looks good. I plan on doing the footboard eventually. Please like, share, and comment what you would have done differently. Thank you for watching all the way through. Have a good one.